Hi, I'm Sil. I'm creating a D&D tabletop product called the Arena Battle League. And even though the final product is a book, I'm using Unreal Engine to do all of the artwork for it. This allows me to make dramatic videos for each picture in the book that DMs can share with their players at the table. In this YouTube series, we'll show you the progress we make as we push toward launch. Welcome to Sil Creates. Since last week, Chris and I worked on a new team to add to the roster. The team is called the Slicin Dicers, and here you can see me preparing the InDesign document section, the team section for the Slicin Dicers, and I'm starting from the Puppet Masters, using them for reference. And there you see me bringing the monster manual to my desk to also use it for reference. We want to maintain as much consistency with the existing materials as possible. Next, I had to start working on the portraits for the Slicin Dicers. Again, I started from the Puppet Masters, and I realized that the image I had in the book for the Puppet Masters was the old style of banner, so I wanted to replace it with the new banner, which you saw me do there. And now I'm using that as the template for the Slicin Dicers in Unreal Engine. And you can see me here laying out all of the cameras that I need for the portrait of the Slicin Dicers team. And here you see me taking screenshots for each of the different members of the Slicin Dicers, so that I can update the InDesign document so it's nice and ready for when I pull the stat blocks that Chris is currently working on into the InDesign document itself. So here you see me spending quite a lot of time in Unreal Engine creating this artwork. So here I got on FaceTime with Chris. We were talking about the state of the project. You can see I've got 5 or 7 views on my video. Not very impressive yet, but we're working on it. And here you can see Chris from his computer. And you can see he's on a Mac. He is using monsters from the core rules of appropriate challenge rating for the challenge ratings that we need each of our enemies to be, each of the team members at each of the levels that we require. This is a technique that Wizards recommends for people creating homebrew and their own 5.5e compatible content to use. You start from an existing creature that you know is approximately the challenge rating that you're looking for, and then you adjust that to meet the needs of the character that you're designing. And you see Chris doing that all here again. You see him referencing official documentation to be sure that the language we're using is accurate and familiar. Make it easier at the table for DMs to adjudicate. Chris finished all of that, posted it in D&D Beyond, and you see me now taking Chris's work, stat blocks, and translating that over to my prepared InDesign document here. And you can see that there's quite a lot of talk back and forth between Chris and I on Trello, just around the challenge of designing the stat blocks to fit on the screen, on the page properly in the format that we need on the page, while maintaining all of the standards I referred to before. And yeah, we made a fair bit of progress this week, mostly on the teams. So you can see I'm dragging a few more puzzle pieces from the team section into the complete puzzle here. Yeah, we did all right, but we didn't get a ton done, or I didn't. I was hoping to get more artwork done. But this happens. One thing, when you watch videos online of people using Unreal Engine and talking about how beautiful and wonderful it is, they rarely talk about how often it crashes. And you can see me here struggling. It just kept crashing over and over again. I wanted to load the fire and water arenas. Here's the air arena, so that I could use those in the backdrop of the portrait art. And you can see how dismaying it can be when the application just constantly crashes and you lose so much of your time. Save often is one lesson. I need to be able to open those files and do this art, so in desperation, I thought I would try on updating Unreal Engine from 5.6 to 5.7. And it did not work. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next episode of Sil Creates.